Hello and welcome to your real estate show with thanks to Harcourts Tasmania. Well, if you've ever dreamed of renovating a heritage home, look no further than tonight's episode. We're going to be taking you through a restoration project of a rundown cottage in Invermay that's going to be receiving some much needed TLC to be transformed into boutique accommodation. We've also got a special guest in the studio tonight who's going to give you some insight into making an attractive offer when it comes to buying a home, plus some important financial advice from MyState Bank. We're going to take a look at what's happening across Hobart and Sandy Bay after the university's bold relocation plans were announced. But we start this evening's show with a charming character country home in Franklin, just south of Hobart. Hello, Carl. How are you? Thank you so much for having me here in beautiful Franklin. Tell me about this beautiful part of the world.
Thank you, Rachel, and welcome. Yes, Franklin certainly is a lovely little historic village on the river, which makes it quite special.
And close to town?
Yes, that's right. We're only 10 minutes from the main hub of the Huon Valley at Huonville.
And a beautiful little area that's full of culture and cuisine.
Yeah, that's right. We've got lots of little eateries here. Makes it very, very attractive.
Absolutely. Now, we're in a 1935 cottage I'm going to take a look through. What makes this property stand out in your opinion?
Look, I think it's position and obviously its character. So 1935, plenty of character, but it's also the fact that we're here just back from the main street at walking distance, surrounded by some beautiful paddocks.
Beautiful. I'm going to take a look inside and I'll see you out in the backyard.
Great.
Thank
Have
you.
a look through.
As soon as you walk into this house, you get a real sense for its beautiful long history. And I love the fact that even though they've modernised it with things like this beautiful wallpaper, it's still really in keeping with the era. One of the things I love about this house are the two front rooms, including this master bedroom with beautiful big bay windows to sit and look out at the vista. And the great thing about this room is the capacity to expand with an ensuite and walk-in wardrobe if you wanted to renovate. The thing I love most about old homes is the configuration of the rooms. The fact that you can still have a separate dining area if you want, and it flows really smoothly through to the main kitchen area. This house really is nice and light and bright, and beautiful views out to the river and to Sleeping Beauty. You can certainly see yourself sitting here in front of the fire, taking it all in. It's a classic country cottage. You've even got the cows here on cue for me. A rare parcel of land indeed.
Yes, absolutely. And you're only really having to look after the half acre that is yours here. We've got some beautiful mature ornamental trees, as well as some mature fruit trees, nuts. And of course, there's also in spring some roses that come out, heritage and rare.
Fantastic. I'll get my secateurs out. How much are people looking at to secure this piece of property?
So this one's coming on for negotiations over $685. We're sure it's going to be very, very popular.
It will be indeed. If you're interested, give Carl Gallion a call at Harcourts Huon Valley. Our guest this evening is going to give you some expert advice on how your offer can stand out from the crowd. We now welcome to the studio Tony Morrison from Harcourts Tasmania. Welcome to you, Tony. It's the hottest market you've witnessed in around 20 years in the industry. Lots of properties getting multiple offers.
Yeah, just flat out. I mean, I don't think I've seen a market this hot since I think 2002, 2003. And like there are many houses getting 5, 6, 7, 8 offers. We've even had some close to 20 offers. It's amazing.
Wow.
It's just crazy.
So only one of those offers can be successful. Lots of people obviously missing out. Must be really hard to be a purchaser at the moment.
Oh, look, the market definitely favours the sellers, which is not always the case in Tasmania, but it definitely favours the sellers. And we're hearing stories of buyers making 2, 3, 4 offers on different properties before they're successful. So it's pretty hard for a buyer at the moment.
Okay, let's give them some advice on how to help them at the moment. What can they do to make their offers more enticing?
So there's certain things they can do. First of all, if they need to get a building report done, get that done before you put pen to paper. So it shouldn't be a mandatory clause in the contract because it's just not going to be appealing to a seller. I would also, if you can get your finance organised before, make sure you've got that organised so you don't have to put a finance clause in. I would never make an offer subject to the sale of a house now. If you have to sell a house, get your house sold. You have a far better chance of getting your offer accepted, and you'll probably pick it up for slightly less if it's cash than subject to the sale of a house. You need to eliminate any clauses you can, like the cooling off clause. Eliminate that. If you're 100% certain you want to buy a house, eliminate the cooling off clause. There's lots of things you can do, like even odd things like putting in an odd number. Instead of offering 500,000, offer 502 or 503. It could be that extra couple of thousand that makes you stand out from the other offers.
Okay, that's a bit of an interesting advice. And what can people expect in terms of the agents presenting their offer to the vendors? Is that something that happens straight away in the current climate?
Well, not in today's climate. Traditionally, if you made an offer, you should expect the offer to be presented within 2 or 3 hours. But in today's market, because there are so many people wanting to make offers and inspect, quite often it's like a week later. So when the house goes on the market on a Monday, the agent's saying, everyone can make offers, but we're not presenting them till Saturday after the open house. So, and that's to do the right thing by the seller, because the seller's paying, the commission. So we've got to get the very best price. So we've got to get as many offers as we can. So I think if I was a buyer, the first thing I would ask is when are offers going to be presented? Because there's not much point in putting your offer in first up if they're not being presented for another week.
Okay, so that gives you time then to make that offer the best one. You've only got one chance at it.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's the first thing I would ask. When are they going to be presented? Because then if you leave it till just the day before they're being presented, you can ask how many offers have been made. They're not going to tell you what the offer is, but they will have to say, yes, we've got 6 offers or 7 offers, and that may give you an indication as to where you place your offer.
Yeah, okay. Some interesting tips there. Thank you very much for your time today,
You're welcome.
Tony Morrison joining us there from Harcourts Tasmania. It's now time for our regional profile with thanks to homely.com.au, and tonight we're going to be taking a look at what's happening across Hobart and Sandy Bay after the university's bold relocation plans were announced. Today we are in Tasmania's capital of Hobart with Colin Miller from Harcourts Hobart. Colin, the capital city is going gangbusters at the moment. How are you reading things from a real estate perspective?
Absolutely, Rachel. Thanks for having me on. Everything's selling so fast at the moment. Prices are so strong. Tassie as a whole has recorded its strongest quarterly performance ever, just short of 1.5 billion. For the quarter, and that's a reflection of the strong price growth.
We're about to see some huge development in Hobart. The university's outlined its plan for a major shift to the city. What would you think that would do to property prices in that area?
Yeah, well, the vision there with the UTAS, they've $600 million project or something, moving the whole campus into the CBD, so it makes it more accessible for the wider community. They have said that they'd like to work with Hobart City Council and the local government to improve infrastructure as well as part of that plan. So that will create things like pedestrian bike pathways in Sandy Bay, the Derwent Bridge, the Derwent River ferry service they're looking at as well, and opening up the Northern Suburbs transit corridor as well. So lots of accessibility there, which will just improve the livability and desirability of the city.
Well, let's talk about all of the different elements of Hobart. Let's look at North Hobart, a really popular area as always.
Yeah, that one, the median price according to REIT, 890,000 at the moment, and that's up 19.5% over the last 2 years. So again, you know, just underscoring what we're seeing across the board.
When you look through to Sandy Bay, that'll be interesting because obviously the uni land will come up for sale and perhaps change the dynamics of the residences in Sandy Bay.
Yeah, the UTAS are looking to control ownership of their Sandy Bay campus, and they're looking to create a sustainable, inclusive living environment that's going to support first home buyers, low income earners, as well as those on good incomes. And some of the supporting things like retail and community areas to try to make that space a bit of a sustainable, inclusive model that others can follow.
Okay, and then you look out at South Hobart, median of 701,000, and then West Hobart. That's huge, a median of 1.05 million.
That's
Tell us
right.
about who's living in West Hobart.
Well, and again, so if you actually drill into the data, we're looking for the quarter in West Hobart of only 10 transactions. So that's what, you know, the sample size we might find as the year progresses that number diminishes a little bit and steps more in line with the North Hobarts and the South Hobart medians. But still, you know, of those 10 transactions, there must have been some thumping sales there that have really improved the median price there overall.
Okay, we'll wait and see what happens. Thank you so much for your
Thanks,
time today.
Rachel. No
Colin
worries.
Miller there from Harcourts Hobart. It's now time to take a sneak peek at a heritage cottage in Invermay that's going to be given some much needed TLC. Invermay is renowned for its character cottages, and we're here at one in Goodwin Street that Lydia Maskiell and your husband Shane, you're about to work your magic on.
Yes, we've actually just bought this 1890s two-bedroom cottage, and it has actually endured quite a bit. It's got a beautiful little history behind it because it's been a part of the Invermay floods, and as you can see, the whole house has been completely distorted and angled, but that is a part of its character and its history.
So it's listed with the Heritage Council. What does that mean for you in terms of being able to redevelop it?
It is a little bit trickier to navigate and find a balance of, you know, trying to conserve some of its imperfections versus trying to create a new modern design as well. So a part of that is that we're going to keep the two top boards that really reference that archaeological value and history of the building, and we'll actually try and replace some of the other boards to straighten it up to make it more livable.
And colour palette, you're big on that.
Yes.
You do get to keep one pop of colour on the front.
I do. So I guess with heritage colours, they are quite conservative palettes, but when it was actually registered, it did have a pink door. So my first question to Heritage was, can I keep the pink door? Can I restore it? So I can actually restore that.
Fantastic.
Which is really a nice win for us.
And so through that pink door, we're going to turn it into an Airbnb?
Yes.
Let's have a little look at what the job ahead's going to be like. Oop. Well, Lydia, it looks like you've got your work cut out for you in here. What are we going to see once you're finished?
Yeah, sure. So we're actually looking at reinstating the original wall. So you can see that there's a wall nib here. We're going to form this into another bedroom. So the two main bedrooms will be at the front of the house. So a part of that process is that we'll be using the wainscoting, the original wainscoting from the rear bedroom, and actually lining this hallway with it, which will give this more of a formal space, which is bringing it back to what it used to be.
And other heritage elements you need to consider?
Yeah, definitely. So the wainscoting is a part of that heritage element. We're actually going to introduce an arch through here too, which will really define these two bedroom spaces compared to that of the open plan living at the rear of the house.
And you'll restore the mantle to its former glory?
Absolutely, so it's original 1890s mantle, so we need to, you know, we have to keep it. It's a beauty.
And just finally, colour scheme, how can you integrate some pops of colour in a heritage property?
Yeah, sure. So I guess we're drawing a lot on the front door colour of the pink, and we're going to actually marry that through the internal spaces. So you'll find a bit of a surprise in the bathroom space when you look at the ceiling. So that might give you an insight into the direction we're going in.
Okay, Shane's doing the construction work. What's the pressure timeline for him?
Yes, so we're working on an unrealistic target. So I'm expecting an 8-week time frame from go to woe. He's telling me that that's probably not realistic, but we'll say 8 weeks.
Let's say 8 weeks, then it will be a beautiful Airbnb. Thanks so much for your time, Lydia.
Thanks for having me.
Plenty of blood, sweat and tears going into that renovation as we speak, and I can't wait to show you the final result in just a few short weeks. It's now time for our finance segment with thanks to MyState Bank. Tonight's tip from MyState Bank is to tailor your financial circumstances to your individual circumstances such as retirement. So review your likely working life and retirement age, structure the loan term in the hope of debt clearance on or before that time, and discuss your intentions with your home loan lender and the benefits of making additional repayments so that you can reduce the debt faster. Thanks to MyState Bank for that tip. Well, that's all we have time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. See you next week.